Excellent. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for this opportunity to present Pro Mujer. I'm the Associate Director of Development. I'm in charge of all the fundraising opportunities that we have from the different partners and friends, and I'm so excited to be in contact with you guys. This is going to be our first giving circle, so it's a really new adventure for us, and it really gives us a nice space to be able to present who we are, and I really appreciate your time. A few really exciting things. First and foremost, Pro Mujer is a social enterprise. We've existed for 30 years. We started in 1990, so 32 years. We started in 1990 in Bolivia as a microfinance institution. And since then, we have grown substantially. We are now registered, legally registered as microfinance institutions in 5 countries, in Bolivia, Nicaragua, Mexico, Argentina, 6, Guatemala. And that's the exciting thing, is this year in Guatemala, we just opened our 6th office in April. And not only does it provide microfinance, which has long-standing been our platform, but we also offer holistic services to women to really try to address the holistic and diverse challenges that they face in these different countries and the different contexts. So our model has expanded from microfinance to include as well health and well-being and skilling opportunities. We see that financial inclusion goes hand in hand with financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and digital skills. So there's a natural link that we have made and we've supported through new methodologies in training women how to start their businesses. A lot of times the women that we work with are, selling empanadas in the street, selling food or clothes that they make, artisany, or forgive me, I'm now switching into my Spanish as well. So, arts and crafts projects, handicrafts that they can sell. And they're really entrepreneurs of necessity. They have to do something because either they're, they may not be literate, they may be from an indigenous community, and there's just really not access to the education or resources that they would need to get kind of that job placement and workforce development. So we help them to create a new business venture. Our entrepreneurship program has 4 main parts. We go from creating a business idea to actually creating a business plan. So kind of what Tim was saying about the idea might not be super good. Let's make sure it's solid before we move on to the next stage of the process. So creating a business plan, strengthening a business that's already in existence, and then growing it to even, there are certain businesses that can grow to be exporting their services and products to other countries. So we want to make sure that at each part of the entrepreneurship journey, there's a skilling opportunity for women who may not have had it before. And it's really exciting. We have mentors that work with entrepreneurs. And then this first year that we've been doing it digitally as well, we've had almost 1,000 women trained just in this first year of offering it digitally, and we're in 23 different countries with that digital model. So compounding on 30 years of experience and that link between financial inclusion and economic opportunity through skilling, we're really starting to see some big changes, and that's just on the digital side. Overall, we train about 100,000 women per year in entrepreneurship, and this digital platform that we've created this last year will allow us to expand and innovate even faster and more just because of its digital nature. And then I'll talk about health a little bit as well, because we see a natural link there as well. If women and their families are not healthy, they will not be able to work, go to school, learn, change their communities. So what we work on really is preventive health. We work with non-communicable diseases. A lot of times a high cause of death or suffering is diabetes. So we work a lot with diabetes. And we also work in sexual and reproductive health and rights, particularly in breast cancer and uterine cancer, and ovarian cancer. So just trying to start in those gaps that the public health system doesn't or isn't able to. It varies by country. So for example, in Argentina, we offer supplementary health packages to everyone who takes out a loan. which is really helpful because they can get, you know, maybe better prices for prescriptions or get connected to specialists that maybe they didn't know they could connect to. So this supplementary package just helps give them that information that they need in order to access the services that are available through the national public health system. In Bolivia, we have an excellent program that works with community health workers. These are volunteers who volunteer their time. They're trained in how to do like glucose monitoring and basic blood pressure tests and things like this, so that in communities, rural communities, indigenous communities that are either far from services or might have a cultural aversion. Sometimes they don't trust in doctors, they don't trust in authority. This community health worker can build that trust within the community so they can still access those services and then be connected, work in that empathetic way to be connected to the services that they need if they show that they've got a risk of diabetes or breast cancer. And then in Mexico, we also do free mammograms. So we have a chatbot teaches women how to do self-exams to see if there might be lumps, and then we'll connect those women who may have a risk of breast cancer to a free mammogram and then to a specialist when they need it. So those are three really concrete examples of how we're doing health and well-being across Latin America. And what we're looking at, because it's so particular, the context is so particular in health and health systems, is how can we kind of have similar methodologies across the different countries to really address the needs of all of these women. We talk a lot about impact. We've had over $4 billion dispersed in loans in the last 30 years. We've reached, we've given out 400,000 different health services or connected women to specialists when they need, and over 200,000 women in entrepreneurship. And in total, we've reached 2 million people across Latin America in the last 30 years. So really, really exciting. In terms of impact, another exciting piece that we're doing is we've completely renovated our impact strategy. So what we're looking at is how do we go deeper? How do we look at the impact that these programs are having at different levels? And what we've done is, for example, we've added new things that we're surveying women about. In financial services, we're asking, hey, access to this loan, has it made you feel like you have more choice over how you spend your money or the decisions that you make for your family? Do you feel more confident? And we're finding that between 80 and 85% of women that are surveyed are responding, yes, they have felt this increase in agency, this power that is being returned to them, so that they can really take advantage and move forward in whatever they choose is important to them. So that's a very brief overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your program sounds great. Can you talk a little bit about, what your sort of success rate is when you're giving a woman a loan? Like, what happens then? She gets the loan, and then what?
Sure, absolutely. 9 times out of 10, she's using that loan to invest in her business. And there's businesses all across the board, from handicrafts, food production. Some invest in construction companies that their families have as well. So it's really diverse across the board. It is most of the time it's micro enterprises, but for financial inclusion, we're also looking at the missing middle and those women who are just too big to get a microfinance level, but they're still too small to access the formal financial institutions. So we have a couple of financial products that target them specifically. And we're a thought leader in Latin America for gender lens investing. So that's something we also do. Actually, next week in Guatemala, we're having our annual Gender Lens Investing Forum, where we're convening, I think, over 600 people to talk about how financial inclusion at these different levels of the capital curve are really, it's really important for economic growth in Latin America. And we'll also be talking about the intersectionality of it. So when we're talking about impact, is how does financial inclusion impact migration, especially in Guatemala and Central America? It's a pretty hot topic right now. how does financial inclusion affect how much women are paying or how much women are investing in their health. We found that as women have more funding that's theirs, they start investing in their kids' education, in their kids' health, in improving their houses beyond just their businesses. So it's a really interesting kind of storyline of some of these women and what they've chosen to do even beyond investing in their business.
And then, sorry, my follow-up.
Please.
How long do they have to repay, and what's your interest rate?
Yeah, it depends on the country, it depends on the product. So, but it can be anywhere between 3, 6 months or a year, depending on the product. Average loan size is about $800 for the microfinance. So that's not considering the more kind of missing middle funds that we have. And you asked me a third question.
Oh, what's your interest rate? Like, if you lend them $800,
Yeah.
how much do they have to pay you back?
Yeah, so the interest rate will also vary by country. I don't have that specific information, but it's about 2 to 5% lower than the market. And that's where we kind of are able to, because we are a larger organization, we can kind of strike a nice balance to have a competitive interest rate.
Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you.
Any other questions? Questions? Great. All right. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.